as far as the correlation goes with our frequencies, is that I would consider astrology to be more like a reasonably useful lexicon of a kind of syntactical language for archetypal blending. So if we consider that human consciousness is properly comprised, generally, of a series of differentiated archetypes, and these differentiated archetypes, and I mean in a Jungian sense, if we take a look at Carl Jung's basic concept or approach to understanding and applying the idea of archetypes in psychology, then if we take a look at a given archetype as a kind of element of consciousness, and as these things blend and merge and weave back and forth, making complex structures, then the lexicon for that language, or at least a good representation of that, is found in astrology. So when an astrologer says something like Jupiter trine, Mars in the first house at such and such a degree of Aries, to a large extent what they're really saying is that, look, we as mankind over the course of years have found that when these particular things are happening in the sky, we just so happen to see this kind of blend of personality energies occurring in the general population or a given individual. So in the frequencies, what I'll do with my model is I'm mapping internal and external energy forms. And the frequencies are the analog of natural phenomena that can be loosely correlated with astrological transits. So if I take a look at where a given planet is in the sky in relation to another, and I measure what the wave interference is of those two hitting the organism, and I go to astrology and I talk to an astrologer and say, well, look, I've been mapping this frequency. I know that when this angular relationship occurs, I get this kind of energetic physical profile, and I can see that when I take that energy and I put it into an organism, that they act this way. How does that stand with what you see in astrology? And I don't always get a one-to-one match. But I would say that probably about easily 75% to 80% of the time, it's a good enough match. And so what that means then is, in a really cool way, I can actually go to an astrologer and say, okay, look, I want to design this kind of behavioral state. And we know that astrology also has a medical component to it, supposedly, astrological medicine. So if someone's sick, if they have to have a spleen removed, how might that be reflected in an astrological transit? Well, they could come back and they could say, it's this planet in this relation to another planet in this house. And then I would take their archetypal languaging or understanding and go, okay, how can I plot that in my system? And if I can plot that scientifically in my system and create a sound frequency wave, what will happen if I play it back? And so this is, to a large extent, where some of the really dramatic phenomena is happening. And I've checked out the frequency, and to really enjoy yourself, be prepared to trip out. There is nothing like this anywhere else on the planet that I know of, and we're getting amazing results. So thank you, and be well, everyone.